I don't know what Hanson's doing, but that's fine.
Have we officially started?
It's going.
Oh,
This becomes B-roll. Yeah.
outtakes.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. I hope you're enjoying a beautiful Friday afternoon or whatever day you're watching this, because I think the World Wide Web has a good retention policy for videos. What do you think, Brad?
Yes.
Oh, speaking of Brad, just reminds me, I should probably let you guys know, this is not Nicole. Nicole did not get a haircut, put glasses on, and identify as Brad Eriks. But it is the one and only Brad Eriks. So everyone, welcome Brad to the show.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see
Brad?
you all again.
Yeah, and Brad is a great contributor and viewer of the show, a fan. He emails me all the time. When is the next show? I wish I could get on it. He's like a fanboy, and we're so excited that we finally got the restraining order lifted far enough to where he could be in here. We got a green screen where actually he's in prison. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so Brad's here. Welcome, Brad. We've got an awesome show. Nicole never lets me do open format type shows, and she's not here. So, talking real estate with Brad.
All right.
What do you think about that, Brad?
I think it's great.
He thinks it's great.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Nicole reacts to this.
Nicole reacts. That'll be the next show. That'll be next week's show.
Nicole's reaction
Yeah.
show.
All right, so we're going to move into we're still going to keep it our same format. We're going to do 5 topics. The first topic we're talking about, and feel free, we're going to be involved in these live comments and stuff like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about, number 5, is professionalism. Everyone's talking about it.
Oh, man. I don't know about you guys, but when the market gets hot like this, agents seem to just check their professionalism at the door, and they just treat people like crap. They pretty much seem to be too busy to do their jobs. It's unreal. People I know, agents that I know of, have been talked down to, given nicknames. Sugar, sweetie. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, you know what? People just be professional, do your job, and do the best job for your client.
Exactly. You know what? Any of you realtors that were in the business back in like 2007, this happened back then also. Even our local board, we had probably a third of our we went 33% above our highest norm as far as number of members. So we had 33% more realtors in our marketplace, and it's hard to train agents to begin with because we're independent contractors. Mm-hmm. We can't, as a managing broker, you can't require anything. So really, I mean, it's a weird scenario with our situation, but it works good for realtors. Unless we get into a situation like this where we're inundated with a lot more rookie agents and things like that, and just it's difficult sometimes to be able to train on the level that you need to, so sometimes we have problems. Now,
and kind of leading into a few other things that we're going to be talking about is some of these agents just haven't been trained. They haven't had the leadership. They haven't had the mentorship, and it shows.
Yeah.
And then you also get a few other agents who have been in this forever and just feel like they can act any way that they want without any repercussions. I mean, agents at this time will remember how they're treated, and will remember that when the economy changes and when the shoe's on the other foot.
Look at Brad saying we're all passive aggressive. We're going to remember this when the market slows down and all you rookies get out of the business. We're coming at you passive aggressive style. We're going to be jerks. No, I don't think so. But what can we do? I really said that really loud.
Yeah,
it's gonna break everyone's speakers. Sorry if we broke your speakers. Remember, that was Brad Eriks that broke your speakers. Okay, so what's something we can do, Brad? I think the only thing is we can set better expectations with our client. When we're talking to our clients right now, if your client thinks in this market, whether they're a buyer or a seller, if they think it's going to be a smooth sale, everything's going to be easy and at a nice, comfortable pace, wrong. As soon as before the sign even is in the ground, you're going to have a bunch of showings. I'll give you one quick example. It's an agent that I've been in the business. In fact, the first company I ever started at, she was at that company, her and her husband, great agents. I love them to death. I won't use their name because I didn't ask them, but Rachel's our first name. It was a house for sale in one of our communities here. It went on the market. It was a great price. The pictures looked fantastic. Everything was good. I requested a showing. I couldn't get the time I wanted. It was a little bit, there were some anomalies, like there was a lot of time grayed out where you couldn't do it. So I just emailed her. I never got a response back. I called them before I was supposed to show the house, and she said, I'm sorry, I got inundated with everything. You know, they had 24 offers on this little house. You know, and if you think about it, okay, I know from a buyer's agent's perspective, you know, you send someone an offer, you really should have a safe expectation that you're at least going to get a response saying, yes, I received your offer.
Yeah.
But okay, put yourself in the listing agent's shoes for a second. I'm not condoning, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but here's what I am saying. First of all, you can control what you tell your client. If you tell your client, oh yeah, we're going to get a response back by the end of the day, you're wrong. I mean, and you set up, so you're being a bad agent, quite frankly. I mean, you're setting expectations that you have no control over, and you're wrong, because that's not what's happening right now. So if you do that, that's stupid. You know, you shouldn't do stupid things, you know? But here's, you know, if you set that expectation that, hey, look, right now it's difficult. This house is priced really well. Our best case scenario, I know the agent's a good, ethical, honest broker. I've worked with them in the past. They do a good job. I'm going to trust that they're doing their job, you know? And that's all you can do. We don't control other people. You can't force a seller. Like, that's another big thing. Like, I always argue about it and hate it, but it's a stupid form that we have now that says, yes, we presented your offer, and it doesn't get signed by the seller. It just gets signed by the agent. It's so dumb. That's the dumbest form I think we've ever created. And I know IAR did it. I'm not trying to knock Indiana or nothing like that. It was something that was definitely petitioned from them, but I think it's stupid. It doesn't solve the problem that they had. Anyway, whatever. So set better expectations, but share with that, you know, give the listing agent a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's really difficult right now. Think about that. Let's say you get 24 offers on a property. And on top of all the other stuff you really have to do in a day, you might also be showing 5 different buyers that one house that just popped on the market. You know, you've got to send out multiple offer notifications. You got to put each different buyer's name on all 24 of those multiple offer notifications. You got to scan them all. You got to email them all to the right person. You got to do all that kind of stuff. So it is a tremendous amount of work, and, you know, whatever. Consider the other side. Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say, kind of going back to that whole situation where, you know, being professional is going to help now and it's going to help you in the future. If you're doing it right now, a year from now, when you have, say, you're on the listing side, and you see an offer come in from another agent that treated you well, you're going to remember that. And then if you have another agent that treated you badly, they're going to remember that as well. So keep in mind, I mean, agents do have a certain amount of influence on which offers the sellers will go with. And if they know that this is an agent I'd love to do business with, I'm confident this is going to close, that's going to go a long way. So treat people well, it will come back.
Yep. And John's going to have to get another roll of tape ready for this camera, because I think we're going to go over this show.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Okay, so anyway, we beat professionalism into the ground. It needs to be done. Mm-hmm. But here's another thing. If you're an agent, you should never be telling your client that the other agent is not being responsive. You should never be blaming the other agent for anything. You know, and quite frankly, if I don't get a response, usually within 24 hours on something legitimate, never just nonsense, but something legitimate, if I so choose to, then I will escalate it to the management level. You should never sit and wait forever, and you should never lose your professionalism, lose your temper over another agent without at least getting their managing broker involved or something like that, working it out, you know, before it becomes a problem. Your clients deserve it. Absolutely. And getting in fights with other agents is never beneficial. Never. Okay. Number 4, realtors. Here's the thing. Everyone, I hear this all the time. Real estate agents aren't going to be in business in the next 10 years. I've heard that since I got started in the business in 2000.
And you're still here.
I'm still here, 20 years later. It's crazy.
Wow.
It was really 2001. Still okay. 20 years, but, you know. Anyway, so what do you think, Brad? Are we going to have a job?
I think, you know, you have you know, travel agents. They're kind of there's fewer of those.
Now he uses my notes. I got nothing else. Go ahead, Brad.
And next time you got to cover them. But yeah, I mean, travel agents. There's fewer of those. because you get somewhat simpler things that you can just buy online. A lot of the physical things like shoes, whatever. But house, way more involved. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge. Okay, the neighborhood, construction, overall condition of the home. There's so much more to it. It's like, okay, what is the current market? I find it very hard to believe that agents are going to go the way of the dodo anytime soon. They're just way too valuable. I mean, everything can't go just online. I mean, unless it's like way out in the future. I mean, technology will need to change significantly in order for that to happen.
Well, and I don't think, and I've said this, I've been very adamant for years that I believe the value of a real estate agent in a transaction is we are not emotionally attached to the transaction. We are there to be a guide, to be a consultant, to help our client navigate those waters of the transaction. And our clients are emotionally involved. Their children may have had little hash marks on the threshold on the door. They could have been there for. I have a client right now. We're putting the house on the market yesterday. She was in that house for 49 years. How cool is that?
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool. All the memories that they have. Okay, I don't have that same sentimental attachment to that. I remember my mom when we sold a house. My mom, she was sentimentally attached to the stove. And I couldn't get it. But my grandfather bought her that stove. My grandfather had then since passed and things like that. And I get it now because I see it all the time with other sellers and stuff. I didn't appreciate it, but I was like 20, so what the heck did I know? But anyway, so
that's sweet.
Do I think any time of the do I think we're going to be out of business anytime soon? Absolutely not. As long as we need to maintain licensure. So if you're competing and want realtors out of the business, that's what I would work on, getting rid of a license to sell real estate. But there's a reason why there's a license to sell real estate. You have to know some certain things. There's certain steps involved, and you gotta be on top of certain things. So anyway, do I think we're going to be out of the business anytime soon? Absolutely not. I think if we figure out a couple of things, if we listen to the consumer a little bit more, I think it'll be even better, and we can really cement ourselves in this trend or in this business forever. So we're going to move on to number 3, financing. What about financing right now, Brad? What are we noticing about financing right now? We're talking real estate, talking about financing with Brad. Let's go. What do we got?
I will tell you, lenders and appraisers, they are getting slammed. They are spending a lot of time working with people who either may or may not be qualified to get loans. Everybody seems to be looking to want to do it with very limited inventory, obviously. It's been a bit of a challenge. Rates, luckily, are still staying a little low, but they've got new methods coming out, appraisals. They're holding the line, at least based on my experience, pretty well. I see a lot of people coming up with money to bridge those gaps. They got more skin in the game.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot more cash transactions now in price ranges that it was not typical to see cash transactions.
Yeah, cash is king nowadays.
Yeah.
Big
well,
time.
it doesn't really help though. Like as far as most sellers aren't taking a huge. I mean, if it's a cash transaction with an inspection and appraisal, most of my sellers couldn't care any less. It's
Right.
not like you're going to closing and walking out of there with a wheelbarrow full of hundreds. It's not happening.
No.
But you get one check no matter what the buyer pays with.
I tell you, I was representing one seller, and we had 14 offers, and once you start getting the offers that high, and if it's cash, then you don't have to worry about appraisal, as if they're not selecting appraisal. So hey, those will get priority typically.
And it's almost a benefit to the neighborhood too, because it's like, hey, you just delivered a solid comp for everyone else in the neighborhood. So that's really cool. So that is one benefit, But I remember like a $100,000 house and if let's say hypothetically the seller was willing to take $95,000, but then a cash offer came in at $90,000. They might take it.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, a cash offer, maybe we take it at full price. But,
Right.
You got 40 offers over full price. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. We're going to talk about new stuff at our number 1 thing. So we're going to leave the rest of that one alone. So we're going to go into numero, how do you say?
2.
Ni, I think is
Dos?
that how you say it in Japanese? Ni. Someone posted
take your
that
word
comment.
for it.
Each ni. Yeah, I think it's ni. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
I'll take your word for it.
here's
You're
a
the
big
linguist.
one. Here's a big one that ich spreche Deutsch auch. I also speak
Bless
German.
you.
Yeah. All right. So also, here's a weird one. And this is one that we debated on not even bringing up or anything like that, because I think a lot of consumers don't know this. And we're more of we're a show kind of talking to real estate agents. But here's the thing. If you're putting your house up for sale with a brokerage, you need to know when you're going to be on the actual market, and how long are you going to be exposed to just their internal company listing. Because there are some companies now that are, I call it sandbagging properties for sale, and they're doing it in a way to give their company agents more opportunity at these houses before everyone else does. Okay, that's great, but I can tell you right now, in my opinion, that is never in the seller's best interest. So if I were a seller, and because I see people, here's the weird thing, I see it on social media all the time. I sold this house before it even went on the open market. If I were a seller, do you know how irate I would be? It's like, so you tricked me into accepting an offer from some random person that was at your company, but I didn't get exposed to the open market? I mean, that's why people use real estate agents, is because they get exposed to this larger retail market. And it's like, so who's to say that one agent in your company had the best offer?
Agents, their job, listing agents, they should be marketing the heck out of these homes. The intranet can definitely be part of that. But if you don't give the home a chance, especially in this market, to get out in the MLS and get that extra competition, you may be doing a client a disservice.
Yeah, there are secret groups of higher producing agents that are banding together, and they're letting themselves know about all these deals first. I mean, it's kind of getting a little scary, and that's how they're trying to fight professionalism. But in my opinion, that's not being professional. So I think that's a tough one. So if you're a consumer out there, and if you're an agent, look at it from an integrity standpoint. Is that first of all, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. It's hard to say that word without sounding like slurring. You got a fiduciary responsibility plan.
Okay,
I'm just
Harry.
telling you. Is that Harry Carey?
Yeah,
all right. Listen, the company's got a fiduciary responsibility.
Oh, no.
To hold staff.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Hanson is going to hate this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only do fun stuff like this when Nicole's not on the show, because she reminds me all the time her name's on the show first.
Yes.
So
we miss you, Nicole.
Anyway, company intranets, just ask your agent. Ask your agent. But I wouldn't accept an offer before I'm exposed to the open market.
No.
I would never do that.
Nope.
And if an agent suggested I do that, I would suggest that they call their managing broker.
Unless it's an amazing offer. I mean, it would have to be.
But
great.
how would you know if you have nothing to compare it to?
Yeah.
Think about it. If I had a company intranet and I could just tell all my agents, hey, this house is asking $350. Everyone go in there and offer $340. One offer will offer $349.
Well, true.
I'm not saying that. I've never heard that would happen, and I don't think any of the companies that in our marketplace with company intranets would ever do something like that. I think that's pretty dirty, but you would never know.
Nope,
and that's something. So anyway, let's move past that one as I piss off half the brokerages in the county. That's fine. Anyway, number one, we're going to spend a little time talking about what should the future of real estate look like in the brilliant Brad Erickson's mind and the subpar Craig Friendling's opinion.
Oh, whatever. Some of the advances that are coming up. I mean, I hear there's some really cool stuff coming out with drones.
I hear that too.
Take it. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are using drones on the outside of the homes for marketing purposes. That's great. I know there's already talk of automated drones where they can actually go around the inside of the house, take 3D photos and video. That sounds pretty impressive. Kind of give people a really good idea of what the home feel is like.
Well, I think it updates our model. If you look at it just from the listing agent, well, first of all, like a big company like Zillow, right? Zillow put all the information out there in a consumer platform on their website with all the photos that realtors do and photographers and all that kind of stuff, and put it on one website for the consumer. Whether you're looking for a house in multiple states or whatever, you can go in there and look at it. You can see in a very uniform manner what the price is, what all this stuff is. And I think the problem with real estate 10 years ago is everyone had these proprietary smaller MLSs and no one was sharing information across MLSs. So I think, but here's the problem. I think the consumer wanted that, and that's how Zillow was, it was a brilliant idea and it was executed correctly. And it's like, and I think that's what, and some agents don't like that, but remember, we get paid commissions for selling and buying property. We never got money for marketing or anything like that. So I don't know that it's such a bad thing, or, you know what I mean? So anyway, so I think it's interesting. So, but here's the thing, like a real estate agent, we have no photography training usually. We have no expertise in measuring rooms. We have no expertise in any of these things. But yet, as a listing agent, that's kind of what you do. You go out to the house, you measure a bunch of rooms, you take pictures, you do the best you can when you're there for maybe an hour. But you have no special knowledge on that property. You don't know anything else. You know, you don't know. We don't know anything about the property. If we could just get a full, or like what I was saying before, like, okay, so now on big MLSs nationwide, like Realtor.com, Zillow, you know, any of the big franchise websites too, Remax and Keller Williams, like all those franchises have big websites that display all that data and stuff like that. But what if you could kick it up a notch and every one of yours would have a virtual tour? Or that's an updated model that is better than just seeing a bunch of still photos. Like we're still going through a book of photos, like we're looking through some old menu or something like that. And it's like, and photos are largely doctored nowadays, you know? Yeah, everyone's like, oh, this does not look anything like the photos. Like how many times did you hear that, Brad?
Oh, a lot. And how many times have you taken a client out to go show a home where the photos look great, and then the feedback that you end up giving them is client didn't like the layout? We can thank someone for that.
Well, someone forgets.
And it's typically, it's pretty accurate, but I think it becomes more popular after every show that's aired where it's mentioned.
Well, you know, what am I going to say? I actually had to give agent feedback one last week on a showing that I did. The bedrooms were too small. Well, I hate feedback like that because the bedroom sizes are listed in the MLS, you know, but I didn't run it. I didn't ask my client, did you look at all the bedroom sizes? So when they did that, I was like, oh man, now I got to give feedback I hate to give. And I did not give my, did not like layout feedback. Did not like layout is good because usually you never get a response back from that. If I say the buyer really wanted something with a basement, most of the time I'm going to get an email back from the agent politely calling me an idiot saying, oh,
why did you bother?
I double checked the MLS and it clearly was stated it did not have a basement from when I put it in. Yep. Why did you show it if your buyer wanted a basement? Which is a polite way of saying, hey, idiot, don't waste my time and my seller's time.
That's someone using professionalism.
Yeah. So I need to go back and reread number 5.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's interesting, you know. And even agents, do we really need to accompany the buyer? I mean, do we need to be? What if in the future? Why do we go on showings and stuff like that?
I tell you what, I mean, there are clients out there who truly know nothing about homes. It's like they don't know the difference between wood windows, vinyl windows. They don't know if the wood floor is installed in the right direction or not based on the floor joists. They don't know if that little spot in the ceiling could be condensation.
Wait, you have to install it based on the floor joist?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're learning something new. John, we're going to crop that part out. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I mean,
John doesn't even, there is no John.
I mean, when I'm walking through a home with one of my buyers, I'm busy spending time pointing things out that could be a problem. And if they're just going by photos and they see this little discoloration or they don't even see it at all, if they have an agent there to point it out, it's like, oh, maybe you could be helping them avoid buying a money pit.
Well, I'll be honest, Brad, I typically don't. I mean, if I see something big that I know my client didn't see, I'll point it out to them, of course. But on a lot of other stuff, I typically don't, only because I want the home inspection to do that. I don't want that to become a known defect, you know, and not that it instantly becomes one, you know, but I don't want that scenario. So I usually will, I usually wait. I usually just sit back and wait, because here's the thing. Anything can be corrected in a house, pretty much, for the most part. I mean, if I went down there and there was like a super huge hole in the foundation that went to, I don't know, whatever's under, well, we live on a flat earth, right? So whatever's under the earth.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's stupid. Anyway, okay, so anyway, let's move on, because I really painted myself in a corner in that one. What else? I think, you know what I think would be cool? I think if companies bought the house, right? Because here's the thing. I think the mortgage process takes way too long. Why does it take 30 to 45 days? You know, there's a lot of stuff, but really, if you do the research, it's so it gives the mortgage company enough time to do all the due diligence to make sure that they can resell that mortgage on the secondary mortgage market, which is what's called a conforming loan versus a non-conforming loan. So, and most mortgage companies will do conforming loans. So if they need to, they can resell those assets. And that's why the buyer doesn't have to re-go through all that process again. So I don't know. I think in the future, a company would just, someone wants to sell their house, that real estate company will then buy that house. Then they remodel it, they do whatever they need to do, then they put whatever charge on there, and then they resell it. I think, and here's another thing, if a company like banks, for instance, if a bank is going to lend their own money, and they don't care if it's a conforming loan, if they're going to portfolio it or something, they really don't need that much time. I mean, I think an appraisal is still a safe thing. I think we should always have a third party like appraisers. I think as much as we always hate when an appraiser kills a deal, which it really wasn't. I mean, well, here's another thing that's, I don't want to get into, we could do a whole show on appraisals again. But, and here's a weird thing about appraisals. You have 10 different appraisers go out and appraise one property and not give them anything. Just say, hey, appraise the value of this house. You will get 10 different numbers. And I would guess 7 or 8 of them are going to be very close. But you're going to have an outlier on both sides. You're going to have one that's really super high, and you're going to have one that's really super low. And it's really weird to know which one's really right. I mean, but, I guess whichever one gets the deal done is the right one. So anyway, but I think if we move to a situation where a company buys the house and they loan their own funds to then sell the house to a buyer, it could happen, you could move in tomorrow.
Yeah, title work is really...
Well, if you own the property and you haven't done anything to it, you haven't established any, you haven't gotten any new liens or anything like that, you might be okay with not doing, or keeping title open.
Right.
And then just doing a quick update.
There you go.
And that doesn't take a title company long. If you put a rush on a title order, usually you're talking 4 or 5 days, 3 days, So, what else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Agents on showings? Yeah. Are we going to be there? Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I think we have too much. I think as agents, we have too much knowledge and experience to offer. Where we have a value add to provide, and I think with our knowledge of the neighborhoods, the
really?
pricing.
What can you tell them about the neighborhoods, Brad?
Which one?
Any neighborhood. Pick a neighborhood. What can you tell them? You can't go over demographics.
No, you can't.
We don't even like to say what schools because school boundaries change frequently.
That's true.
Especially elementary school. So what crime? We don't know crime statistics usually without going. So what do you tell people?
I'll tell people.
I love driving through this neighborhood.
I have a lot of people looking to buy and sell in this neighborhood, and then there are other neighborhoods where it's like I have very little demand from people looking to buy or sell in this neighborhood.
Oh, it sounds so risky.
Yeah, that's how I play that.
It wouldn't be a good show if I didn't argue one fact at least. So I chose the last one to pick on Brad about.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyway, I think. What do you guys think? What do you guys think the future of real estate looks like? What are the worst inefficiencies in our business, and how could they be corrected? Put it in the comments.
Let us know.
Company intranets. What do you think about that?
Financing, realtors, and professionalism, which I think is probably going to be the hot point of this particular video.
Yeah, and I think professionalism, everyone should do this. Give the other agent the benefit of the doubt. Understand that it might be crazy busy on their side too. Their clients are pressuring them just as much as your clients are pressuring you. Give the agent the benefit of the doubt. Yep. And if they don't respond within so many hours, days, escalate to management. If it's that important, escalate to their managing broker. Before you call and yell at another agent, you should escalate to their managing broker. I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to all my other managing brokers out there that don't want to receive a dozen more phone calls a day, but
typically before that point, usually there's a text or a call saying, hey, are you okay? Is there something wrong? I mean, it's usually go with the concern because technically that may be the case. So give them the benefit of the doubt.
And plus, we're still in a pandemic. So some people could be in the hospital or something, never know.
Everyone's got family, friends, their own lives. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for putting up with us. Sorry you had to look at Brad and I instead of Nicole.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's what you get. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, right? It's Brad's mantra.
That's my motto. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. So that's it. Thank you.